Do you guys remember that shocking time that Robert Downey Jr. did blackface? This really says a lot about society. Just kidding. Anyway, which was sent on a top-secret assignment in Vietnam in the winter of 1969. The force was there to rescue Sergeant Four-Leaf Tabak from a heavily guarded NVA prison camp. This mission was considered to be near self-deletion. 10 men were sent, 4 returned, 3 read books, 2 were published, and 1 just got a movie deal. And so here we are, the story of the men who attempted to make that movie. We now see 3 military choppers flying over Greenland. The soldiers are shooting and clapping men on the ground. It's absolute chaos here. People are being shot, bombed, dissected, and cut open. These guys with the chopper manage to drag some of their injured soldiers into the aircraft, and before they take off, they see one of their own trying to make it to the helicopter. He's being shot at repeatedly, but this guy has refused to die. His partner, Sergeant Lincoln Osiris, then makes a brave decision to go get him, and he does get him, but one of their enemies throws a bomb to the helicopter, and now it's chaos again. How this guy is still alive, I sincerely don't know. His hands have been completely blown out. They're literally French fries right now, but he still lives on. He seems to be delivering his final few words, and what he's trying to say is, "You're my brother." Okay, wait a minute, this is only a movie. Yes, this is a movie, but it's a movie in a movie. Like the narrator inferred, this is not the story of the soldiers themselves. This is a story of the men who attempted to make a movie about the soldiers. I hope you're following. It's a pretty big set, and Tug Speedman, the main actor, the one with the French fries hands, has asked to cut, but the director is insisting that they're still rolling because the jets are coming in soon. These 2 actors, Tug and Kirk Lazarus, are giving the director a really tough time. At some point, Kirk just stands up and leaves just as the jets start coming. The director sees the planes on their way and starts jumping up and down like a little baby. Somehow, the guy in charge of explosives, Cody, sees that as a sign and lets everything burn. Later in the news, we hear that the explosion, which was not even caught on tape, was worth $4 million, and the movie itself is 1 month behind schedule. Of course, all the blame is being heaped on the rookie director, Damien Cockburn. You heard that right. Who can't control his star-studded cast. And yeah, these guys are big stars. It's their movies whose trailers we're watching at the beginning of the movie. And you won't believe it, but Kirk Lazarus is actually a 5-time Academy Award winner. Must be a different academy. Definitely a different one. Kirk is obviously white, but he underwent a pigmentation alteration procedure in order to play Sergeant Lincoln Osiris in Tropic Thunder. It's alright, Hollywood is always doing these swaps. I'm sure it's fine. Just kidding. Tug Speedman, on the other hand, used to be the highest grossing star in the world, but he's now feeding on scraps. He can only get roles in the worst of movies. As Tug is watching the reporter talk about him, he gets a call from his agent and best friend, Rick, who's telling him he's a star, but right now he's like a kid with lice whom the rest of the kids don't want to play with. Speaking of kids, Tug seems to really want one, but he doesn't like the options he's been presented with. I mean, why is this little rascal holding a knife? Can you even talk yet? Anyway, director Damien is trying to do some damage control, while everybody else is just having the time of their lives on set. They now walk into what's supposed to be a boardroom, I believe, and they have the studio executive, Les Grossman, on FaceTime. He immediately asks one of the crew members to punch Damien in the face, and of course, he does it. That's the man paying his salary. What did you expect him to do? Damien is now bleeding, and Grossman's right-hand man, Rob Salome, is just aggravating issues. While all this chaos is going on, Sergeant Four-Leaf Tabak cuts in, and would you believe that the studio executive doesn't even know who he is? That's the man who wrote the book your entire movie is based upon. You don't even know? Well, apparently he doesn't even care, because he tells the sergeant to shut up and let him do his job. He finally tells Damien to take control of his actors or he'll shut him down. And what we see next is not really him taking control. This is a full-blown party happening on set, while they're still 2 weeks behind. Damien goes to the only serious actor on set, Kevin Sandusky, and tells him they need to have a quick cast meeting. But the other actors don't seem very interested in that meeting. Al Pacino would rather go shoot another horrible music video. Jeff Porno is only concerned about his substances, and Tug is out there on stage giving a toast. So Damien just goes to the beachside and indulges himself in a bottle. He sees Four-Leaf in a little tent, and he goes to sit with him. Four-Leaf gives him an idea. Set up hidden cameras in the trees at different angles, and dump the actors in the middle of the woods and record them as they try to navigate through the jungle. At some point, he and Cody will light up the jungle. Damien thinks it's brilliant. It'll bring out real emotions. Next thing we see is the actors in a helicopter, and they all look really nervous, of course. Except Four-Leaf. He's having an amazing time. They land in a bush. All the actors jump down, and the heli flies away. Damien seems more in control now, handing out slaps and confiscating phones. He tells them the studio wants to shut them down, and if they want to save the movie, they have to become a unit. He gives them direction just as he pours alcohol on their phones and destroys them. Tug manages to hide his phone away in his crotch though, and that will come in handy, especially when it vibrates. Damien hands Tug a list, tells them about the hidden cameras, then gives them the final charge before he leaves. Nobody gets to go home until they get the shots. His final charge ends with a blast. No, literally. He steps on a landmine and is immediately shredded to pieces. But the show must go on. So the guys indeed go on. They make some noises that catch the attention of some guys in the woods, who immediately start following our actors. Tug thinks Damon is alive, and just messing with their heads. Meanwhile, the guys in the woods are trying to make a mess of his head. They think these inept actors are the DEA. If only you knew. In Tug's attempt to prove that Damien was only messing with them, he manages to scare the gang. He lifts Damien's head, plays with it, puts his gun in it, and kicks it away, and it causes the gang to think twice about attacking them. They say that these guys are not scared of death. Elsewhere, Cody is talking too much, and Forley doesn't seem very interested in any of the talk. Cody sends a message to Damien via walkie-talkie. He says he's ready for the explosion. Of course, nobody answers, but Tug and the guys can hear the message because Damien's walkie-talkie is down there. With Damien now gone, Tug takes over as director and is telling his colleagues what to do. The guys get to acting and are actually doing a pretty good job. So good that the gang hiding out in the woods still thinks they're real US soldiers, so they start shooting. Everybody goes down, but Tug thinks this is still part of the script, so he starts shooting back. He's very dedicated to the craft. Tug's enthusiasm gingers the other guys, and they join him in shooting. And just at the right time, Four-Leaf gives Cody the orders to blow up the place. Luckily, the place where the explosion happens is where the gang is positioned, so they immediately run away. After they run, Tug says cut. He seems to be doubling as director and lead actor pretty well. Everybody is celebrating as they head back, but Kirk still has a suspicious look on his face. And speaking of suspicion, Cody is proper suspicious now, because he still hasn't heard from Damien. He says something's up, and suggests they go there and find out what it is. Back with the actors, Jeff is not so happy that Kevin caught him trying to sniff some H, but they quickly turn back and rejoin the guys. Tug still thinks Damien is playing tricks on them to get the best out of them, and he even loves this method. He's saying he wishes he had directors like this on his previous projects. Meanwhile, Cody and Four-Leaf have arrived at the crime scene and they see Damien's remains. Four-Leaf immediately tries to leave, but Cody tries to stop him, so they get into a little tussle. During that tussle, Four-Leaf's anchor arms come off and oh, he's a fraud. But before Cody can even call him out on his fraudulence, the gang comes out and points guns at them. The actors, by the way, keep moving in the woods, but they stop to argue. Tug and Kirk are arguing about the map while Jeff and Alpa are arguing about farts. Yes, believe it or not. So Tug says they take a break. A lunch break. But this bird comes and snatches Jeff's special food. Tug, though, is still struggling with the map. He doesn't know how to read a map, but he doesn't want to admit it. Kirk then goes to Kevin, and seems to be trying to get him to connive with him against Tug. Once he's done, Tug comes up to him and tries to do the exact same thing. Kirk offers him a role in a movie next year, while Tug offers him a Teen's Choice Award. Decisions. We briefly see Cody and Four-Leaf flying their chopper with guns pointed at them. Back to the actors, their break is over, and they head to a river. Kirk says they're lost and asks to take a look at the map, but Tug is still being stubborn. Then boom, an argument starts, but Kirk manages to craftily snatch the map from Tug, and he quickly hands it to Kevin, who takes one look and tells him that they've been going the wrong way the entire time. Tug asks Kevin if he can get them back to the drop zone, and he says maybe, but Tug insists on going his own way, so the rest of the guys leave him and turn back around. Meanwhile, the gang are now tracking Tug. The sun is going down now, so Kirk tells his guys to stop for the night and build a camp here. But Alpa has had it up to here with Kirk talking like this. Remember, he's not actually black, so Alpa, who's actually African American, tells Kirk to just be the white Australian man that he really is. Elsewhere, Tug has built his little camp and he's hiding in there watching a movie on his iPod when he starts hearing some sounds in the woods. It's an animal. He attacks it and kills it, but he immediately regrets his action when he finds out it's a panda. Cody and Four-Leaf, meanwhile, are tied up in this building. At least they're not out in the rain. Four-Leaf begins to confess that he has never been outside the US, and he's actually not a military man. He's a garbage man. Well, at least he's a something man. But basically, the entire book this movie is based on is a lie. Damien would be rolling in his grave, if he had one. By the next morning, Tug had torn the panda apart, and he's now wearing its fur as a disguise. He calls Rick and tells him he just clapped the thing he loves most in the world. And what's the first thing that comes to Rick's mind? That he killed a, dancer. Tug, you need to do better with your life, man. Anyway, there's a lot of miscommunication going on in this call, and Rick thinks Tug is about to fire him. Meanwhile, it's the gang who are about to fire Tug from his job of existing. Rick quickly puts on his jacket and heads out. Elsewhere, Jeff is showing serious withdrawal syndrome, and Alpa is still mocking Kirk in his forced accent. Alpa earns a slap for that. He promises he'll get his lick back, but it seems it's Jeff who's about to get a lethal licking from this bull he's approaching. But luckily for him, the bull is a gentleman. His colleagues put him on top of the bull and are walking the bull through the bush. Tug, meanwhile, has been dragged to the village, and he's pretty much a slave now. But he looks up and sees something he thinks is a camera, and continues acting. I didn't lie when I said this guy is really dedicated to the craft. They take him inside, sit him in a chair, and the leader of the now militia is now questioning him. But Tug thinks this is a movie, and is out here delivering lines. He even introduces himself as a sergeant in the US military, and sends occasional looks to what he thinks is the hidden camera. Meanwhile, Kevin has now led the other guys to the little village. They're looking through a pair of binoculars, and Kevin says this is a substance processing plant, and you can see Jeff's eyes light up. Through the binoculars, Kevin now sees Tug being dipped in and out of a river repeatedly. After they're done doing that to him, the gang take Tug inside to meet their leader, Tran. Yes, this 12-year-old boy is the leader of the gang. Kind of based. He's questioning Tug for trespassing his poppy fields, and accusing him of being DEA scum. Tran starts torturing him, and it causes Tug to stammer while he begs. It's the stammering that helps Tran recognize Tug from one of his his old movies, Simple Jack. They love him, but not enough to let him go. They say they'll hold him for ransom. Now that they know he's a movie star, they can get even more money from holding onto him. Let's now take a break and see how Rick is doing. He barges into Les's office and challenges him about Tug's right to have a TiVo on set. If only you knew your client had bigger fish to fry. And speak of the devil, Rick now gets a call from Tug he puts on speaker, but it's not Tug speaking. It's the gang members. They introduce themselves as flaming dragons, and they say that Tug belongs to them, and they'll only give him back for $50 million. Rick thinks it's an agency trying to poach Tug. At this point, Les steps in, rains curse words on them, and hangs up. In brilliant fashion. Flaming dragons didn't seem to take that well though, because Tug is now being presented to the entire village as Simple Jack in chains. Tran tells an old man to take off his teeth, and forces Tug to wear them. They ask him to perform or die. This is bad, but we're all on the same page that the teeth thing is the biggest torture of them all, right? Good. The rest of the guys are plotting how to come and rescue Tug. Kevin says they should just do what the book says, and Viola, none of them read the book. They did not even read the script, so Kevin has to read the plan out to them. Les, by the way, is with his team plotting something. They're leaving Rick out of the loop, and it's frustrating him. The flaming dragons call again, and how did they say it on TikTok? Yesterday's price is not today's price. They're now demanding $100 million. Les just throws swear words at them again, and says they don't negotiate with bad guys. Rick says they're going to kill him, and Bill says, and? Les says, it's a cold, hard world. Oh brother, it really is. Next thing we know, Les is playing music and dancing. He tells Rick to pick a side. Side with them and be rewarded with millions, or grow a conscience and see where that takes him. What do you think Rick does? Betray his best friend for money in an airplane, or stay loyal to him and probably die? Keep watching to find out. But right now, Tug's colleagues are determined to save him, and they're close now, watching from their binoculars. While they're watching, Alpa strikes. He lands a slap on Kirk's face. You gotta love a man who keeps to his word. He promised he would, and he did. Meanwhile, Jeff finally comes clean to Kevin about his substance problem. He tells Kevin that if they want to complete this mission, they have to tie him to a tree and not untie him until everything is completely out of his system. He tells him not to let him go no matter what he says. Tug's act is finally done, so they take him inside where this really cute kid comes and hands him a Twigman. Tug tells him to call him Papa. I guess he's finally found a kid to adopt. By the way, it's a new day and Rick is still stuck between two minds. To be a broke good friend or to be a billionaire Judas. What mind does he go with? Keep watching to find out. Let's now go to the actors. Jeff is tied up now and the other guys are just getting to know each other. Kevin is a virgin, Alpa is gay. No surprises anywhere. The next day they're carrying out their plan. Alpa and Kevin sneak in through the river while Jeff and Kirk go through the main entrance. Kirk is disguised as a native who has brought a foreign devil, Jeff. They let Kirk in and word quickly reaches Tran about the new foreigner that has been caught, so he meets Kirk at the entrance. As Kirk is still in conversation with Tran, Alpa and Kevin now get out of the water and somehow manage to make it into the room where Cody and Forleith are tied up unnoticed. I almost forgot about these two. While Alpa is trying to break them out of there, Kirk's cover is getting blown. Tran has had enough, so he tells his men to take Jeff and tells Kirk he can leave. But as Tran turns to leave, Kirk says he'll go back to his poppy farm, and that's what completely blows his cover. Tran and his men are now pointing guns at him, so he pulls out 2 machine guns and they all start shooting. All the flaming dragon boys are on the floor, and Jeff just carries Tran and tells him to show him where all the substances are. Everyone with their different priorities. The rest of the guys move on without him though, and they find Tug, who now feels at home here doing 5 shows a day. Wholesome. Downstairs, Jeff is now getting his ass kicked by Tran, but he manages to use his weight to his advantage. He just runs into Tran, holds him, and together they go downstairs. Jeff lands on Tran and the boy blacks out immediately. Nobody is surviving that. But apart from Tran having just blacked out, Jeff gets even better news. He sees his favorite food. Meanwhile outside, Al Pacino can't control the crowd, so he's getting shot at now. It's chaos, but Cody and Forleith have their explosives and are coming to save the day now. They catapult a couple bombs to strategic positions, and it's doing the job they hoped it to do. Back inside, Kevin is trying to stop Jeff from touching the substances. It's a tough battle, which he loses. Jeff puts his hands in, but before he can raise it to his face, 2 flaming dragon guys come in. Jeff puts his hand in the air and lets out a fart, and these guys laugh. I wonder what's funny about that, but it works. While they're laughing, Jeff rubs the goods in their faces and takes them down. It's hell outside. The flaming dragons have called for reinforcements. Jeff and Kevin quickly go upstairs to get Kirk and Tug, and they're not really loving the delay. They're running out of time. They need to leave, but Kirk and Tug are out here, going through a moment of self-discovery. This is not the time to find out that you're actually white and Australian, Kirk. You and your colleagues are about to be clapped. Get your shit together. Kevin and Alpa try to help Tug, and Kirk get their confidence back up by telling them they were inspired by them. That doesn't work, so they just drag them and take them out. They see a truck and they quickly get into it and start driving away. They pick up Forleith on the way, but not so fast. Tran comes and shoots the truck down. All the actors are now on the floor, but Cody is still working on getting the chopper working and preparing a bomb for their enemies. Finally, Tug gets himself back. They all get up and start running to the chopper. They're being chased by the flaming dragons, but the plan is for Cody to blow up the bridge once they have all crossed. And it would have been all so simple, but for some reason, Tug now thinks he can talk to the flaming dragons and they'll listen to him. He feels he has a connection with them. Can't you even hear their name? They're obviously not one for conversation. Kirk is trying to talk some sense into him, but it doesn't work. Tug turns back and says he has to go take care of his son. So Kirk has to leave him and he heads back to the chopper. But barely seconds later, Tug starts running back towards the chopper, shouting that he was wrong and telling them to blow the bridge. He has the little boy he claimed is his son on his back stabbing him. He manages to fling the the little boy away like a paper plane, and Four-Leaf goes to blow up the bridge just as Tug is running towards them. It goes up in flames, but he survives it. Kirk goes back for him, and they have a little cute moment. Boys, how about you get a room, but after you're safe? See what I'm saying? The flaming dragons are backfiring on all cylinders, literally, but Kirk and Tug manage to make it into the aircraft in time. They're not clear though. Trent is ready to shoot the chopper down, but just then we get the answer to our lingering question. Apparently, Rick chose to be a broke, loyal friend. He came all the way to the jungle and even brought the TiVo that Tug had been asking for. The TiVo seems useless, right? Watch this. That TiVo box ends up saving the lives of everybody on that plane, because we already saw what this trans weapon can do to a vehicle. Up next, we're at the Oscars, and the award for Best Actor goes to Doug Speedman for Tropic Thunder, the true story behind the making of the most expensive fake true war story ever. What a title, man. Kirk, the 5-time Academy Award winner, is the one who hands Tug his first award, and Les and Rob have the audacity to celebrate his win. Now sure, it's okay to hate this guy, but you just can't hate these steps he's serving as the credits are rolling. Okay, now that the movie is over, you guys be honest. Could you tell that Les Grossman was actually Tom Cruise the entire time? Be really honest. Moral of the story? Blackface is not cool.